Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boss Babe Blog podcast. I am your host, KeTohn Paul, the founder of BossBabeBlog.com. So today we are talking about a poem that I published called If I Was Oprah. This episode is going to be me breaking down this poem and explaining the depth behind each line in this poem. But before I start breaking it down, I want to challenge you to go read the poem on your own first and decipher it. Figure out what it means to you. What was your core takeaway from the poem? What did it make you feel after you read it? And what do you think it means? What do you think I was trying to say? But what did it mean to you? What did you translate from that poem? So that's what art is at the end of the day. It's self-expression. It's allowing people to express themselves, but also define what things mean to them. So now that we shared that, let me go ahead and get into this poem. It's called If I Was Oprah. The first line says, if I was Oprah, would I have to say it twice? This is about boundaries. This is about establishing something for yourself and seeming to always have to repeat yourself to people in the beginning phases. But once you start to grow and you start to become popular to other people, the people who you always knew and that always knew you were credible, start to be a little bit more respectful of your boundaries. Start to be a little bit more supportive. And actually listen to what it is that you're saying. Their ears get bigger. Now we're listening. Now I'm paying attention. Now, if you say something one time, I'm on it. If I was Oprah, would I have to say it twice? Would I have to tell someone more than one time, hey, the show starts at 6 p.m. So be here at 6 o'clock. Now, are there going to be emergencies in life? Absolutely. Yes. Everything isn't going to go the way that you're expecting. But what I have to say it twice is not dedicated to people who are having emergencies or, you just have that thing where, oh, I made a mistake or, oopsie to me. It's dedicated to people who clearly received the message and understood what was being asked of them, and they still chose to go out of their way and do something different. If I was Oprah, would I have to say it twice? If I told you be here at 6 p.m. and I was Oprah, and I said, make sure you're dressed up, and I was Oprah, and I said, make sure you have on all black, and I was Oprah, and I said, make sure you're ready to talk about the topic and you're prepared, and I was Oprah, would you do it? Would you do it? Or would you come with an excuse, a reason, or a rebuttal for why you're coming to my platform and you are trying to come up with a reason for why we're doing things differently today? That's the question I'm asking. And the reason why I'm asking the question is because we walk around and we talk about, that's my sis, that's my girl. Look, not the balloons coming up while I'm talking. That's my sis, that's my girl, that's my friend, that's my peer, that's my supporter, that's my this, about the people who really do support you and ride for you. But then when it comes down to them giving you their expectations and their guidelines, you for some reason have an issue with following through for them on the same level. And you don't give them that same level of respect that they have given you and will continue to give you, because that's the type of person that they are. They step into the room, they see what is expected of them, and they deliver for you. So why is it a problem for you to do the same? I'll tell you why. It's because you see greatness and there's a little bit of insecurity in there instead of excitement. And so there's something in people sometimes where it's like they just want to rebuttal. They want to go against the grain. Listen, that's great when it makes sense. Okay? Sometimes we do need to go against the grain. A lot of times we need to stand out. But in a lot of situations, people go out of their way to try to be the rebuttal because they see you building something of beauty and of uniform and of unison. Okay? So if I was Oprah and I gave you those guidelines and said, hey, you got to be here at 6 p.m., are you going to show up at 6:30 and say, I'm ready? No, you're going to be there at 5 p.m. Ready to go. Are you going to show up looking like you rolled out of bed and threw on some earrings and just called it a day? No, you're going to show up dressed up, ready for your big, announcement on her show. Are you going to show up wearing red if we said black was what you needed to wear? No, you're going to show up with whatever she said is required or wanted for this set. Why? Because it's Oprah and you know that you're going to get a great opportunity from this. And what is the problem with that? I'll tell you what the problem is with that. Is that you had to wait for Oprah to do right. or to come in and agree and put your best foot forward to show up for someone else. You had to wait for it to be Oprah instead of doing it for the people who have been writing for you, supporting you, showing up for you all this time. You had to wait for somebody to tell you that. There's something wrong with that. And that's what I'm addressing. The next line is, if I was Oprah, would you still be talking about price? Now, let's make sure we practice discernment, okay? Because I'm a shopper. I love to shop. I love to spend my money. And I'm not going to let nobody tell me how I'm going to spend my money, okay? So you're not going to tell me how I'm going to spend my money. But one thing is for certain. The expectations that I have for one business, I'm going to have for the next. If I don't get what I asked for from this business and y'all don't take care of me, I'm going to figure out what I need to do to get my money back or to get to the top, okay? Just like I would do with a small business, whether it's a big corporation or a small corporation. This statement is simply challenging consumers and business owning consumers, because some people are business owners who do it. So they're not exempt to this. I'm challenging you to ask yourself, would I be holding this person to the same standard, regardless of what platform or how big they are? If I was Oprah, would you still be talking about price? If you were speaking to Oprah and she said, yes, we have this and it's $10,000, are you going to say, ooh, that's kind of high? You don't have any discounts? You don't have anything you can do differently? Can you give it for free? What all does this entail? You're probably just going to ask her for a list of everything you receive. You're going to review it and you're going to either accept it or decline it professionally, and you're going to keep it moving. You're not going to have a whole paragraph about how price is this and price is that, and I would do that, but oh, I can't. No. What all do I receive with this $10,000 service? Okay, thank you. I'll review that. Okay, at this time, unfortunately, it's out of my budget. However, I'd really love to be a part of something. If you have anything else in a different price range with different services, please let me know. And if you don't, I understand. Boom, and we keep it moving. But for some reason, with our small business owning friends and family and community members, we're wanting them to bend over backwards, do a backflip, tap dance, and all of that other stuff just to make a purchase. But the question that I'm asking is, if you go into a bigger corporation like a grocery store, Walmart, Target, wherever, you're just going and buying things. Do you look at and research the label every single time? If you do, hey, more power to you. I love that. But for the people who don't, this is what I'm saying. We need to either set those standards. I would suggest, because you can't make anyone do anything, but I would encourage you to set the same standards when you are shopping with your friends and family. Because if you are buying candles at Walmart and you're not looking at the ingredients, what they're made out of, where they're processed, what are the working conditions of the workers when they're making the candles, you're not looking at any of that stuff. But then you go to your sister's business and you start asking her, is it paraben free? Who makes the candles and where does it be distributed from and how long will it take and what am I going to receive with this? When you don't do that at Walmart, if I was Oprah, would you still be talking about price? So that is not just about price. It's not just about spending money. It's deeper than that. It's about the tap dance ritual of wanting somebody to tap dance for your support. When you're giving it to strangers without them having to do any work. They don't have to do any work. They just open up the shop and you walk in and just give them your money. And if you want to do that, you want to do that. But if you're wanting to learn how we can be better supporters of our community, of our businesses that are local, of our friends, of our family members, of the people who have been here for you since day one, let's think about that. There's no reason why I should be going and spending money with a corporation that I don't know anything about this product, but I'm going and blindly doing it. But then when my sister or my family member or whoever wants to, show off the same product, I'm asking them a billion questions underneath the sun. I want them to do a backflip. I want them to give me freebies too. I can't donate because I need more information. But then you'll go to that big store and you'll press donate to those quote unquote starving children that you're never going to go back and follow up with, don't even know their names, or those quote unquote starving puppies in that shelter that you've never visited and don't even know. Let me tell you a story about shelters. Okay, let me tell you this story. Okay, I knew someone that was at a shelter, and people would donate to that shelter and give them food and groceries and fresh produce, things that people need for nutrients for their body. They would donate that to that shelter. And you know what those people at that shelter would do every night? They would take that food and lock it up and put it in the deep freezer. And then when they would leave, they would take that food with them to their homes and feed their families. And they would leave the people at the shelter with stuff like ramen noodles, instant noodles that we're seeing on the news now for all kinds of things that I'm not even going to get into because I don't want nobody trying to come at me for any kind of allegations. Okay? So let me tell you about those donations. So we can blindly donate to stuff like that simply because of the guilt of the cashier looking at us, or simply because we're feeling good today. But we can't go and just donate to a friend who has been supporting us all our life, or a family member who has been there for us or our children or our community all our life. We can't go drop some donations there. We can't just go buy something blindly there too. Now, look, I'm not encouraging us to go buy stuff blindly, okay? That's not what I'm saying. Everybody buy blindly. I'm just saying, if we could do it for a stranger, why can't we do it for the person next to us who has been there for us, supported us, uplifted us? And if we really are concerned about the quality of what they're putting out, why can't we be like a customer that we would with a corporation and give them a feedback form after using those products and say, hey, I'm not sure about this. Now, for the people who have done it, this is not your fight. Don't worry. We understand you. We appreciate you. And we give you all the rewards because you did go and support them. You did give them the feedback, and they did with it what they felt like they should do. And that is what you did to decide on whether or not you're going to continue shopping with them. And I understand that, and I respect that. But what I just can't get around is us being so quick to get somebody to tap dance, like you want somebody to do a backflip and say, "I's the pappy," just to get them to be able to get a sale out of you, okay? When you go into all these other places and you don't do any of that. Heck, the cashiers don't even speak to you when you walk in at half of these stores, and you still go in and spend your money. You don't say, oh, no acknowledgement, deuces. But with a small business owner who you know, who you've been around, who has supported you, who you share blood with, and I don't always mean everything, but in some cases it does, you have to give them the tap dance. That's what that line was dedicated to. The next line is, if I was Oprah, would I still have to say, please don't do this? Now, this isn't just about business. This is about anyone who might understand or be going through this. When you give someone a boundary, or you tell them don't do something, that's one thing. But for some people, they don't even have to tell them not to do it. They don't even have to give them the boundary. Because Oprah, if I was talking to Oprah, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, and I'll be there at 7 p.m., even though she said 6 o'clock. And Oprah's not going to have to come to me and say, please don't show up late, or announce that in the group and think that that's going to be okay because we want people to be on time. She's not even going to have to say that, because I'm not even going to want to do that, because I know I'm getting something from her. That's a lot of people. Now, that's not my personal thoughts, but that is a lot of people's mental when it comes to how they deal with people. And I'm saying this because if I was Oprah, would I have to say, please don't do this? Or would you automatically just not do it because you don't want to play with me like that? You know what I mean? People know or think they know who to play with. Ooh, that's a perfect statement, and that needs to be a quote. People know or think they know who to play with. And what do I mean by think they know? I mean, because they think that you're not giving them anything of value, they will think it's okay and appropriate to mistreat you, mishandle you, or be inconsiderate to you, even though you have consistently considered them. They are not going to consider your emotions, your thoughts, your boundaries, your guidelines, what you have requested of them. They're not going to consider that, even though you have considered them. So they think they know who to play with, until they realize down the line that maybe they should have treated you accordingly, because as you continue to grow and elevate, you look back to bring up the people who have supported you and been there for you for real. Not for the cameras, not for themselves, but for real. So that is what that line was dedicated to. The next one was, if I was Oprah, would your ignorance be more bliss? So kind of similar to that concept about price, what we were talking about as far as like, we'll blindly go do something, but then when it comes to a friend or a family member who's trying to build something, we got 1,000 billion questions. Some people have questions because they genuinely want to see you win and they want to support you. Some people have questions because they have no intention of supporting you, and it's a way to waste time because they think you just have time to waste like that. And some people have questions because they really don't want to see you win, and it's not even about you answering the questions or giving them a solution. They just want to see you tap dance because it makes them feel relevant, makes them feel good. So we don't know which one it is when people do these things. But the overall question is, would your ignorance be more bliss? Would you be a little bit more okay with not doing all this research and asking all these billion questions and wanting my social security number if I was Oprah? Let's think about it. So that's the question that we're asking here. Okay. The next one is, if I was Oprah, would you continue your passive aggressive attacks? Passive aggressive can look like a lot of different things. Passive aggressive can be you saying, hey everybody, hope you're doing well, and then somebody mumbling something underneath, knowing that you can't completely hear it, but everybody else can. Passive aggressive attacks. Where do these come from? Passive aggressive attacks come from people who are feeling insecure or inferior, subliminally, or subconsciously, whatever you want to call it, or consciously feeling inferior to you because they see you building something great. Now, that's not all passive aggressive attacks, but that's some of them. They see you doing something great, and instead of being excited for you, they get intimidated. And they do and say things to try to stir up some kind of drama or unnecessary dialogue that has nothing to do with the overall mission and the overall growth and elevation and the core focus. They just have to add that in there. They have to put that that little 2 cents in there. I said 2 piece, but that little 2 cents. You know what I mean? So would you still have these passive aggressive saying and statements if you were dealing with somebody of Oprah status? No, you absolutely would not. You would come in and sit your butt down. Almost made me curse on this podcast. You would come in and sit your butt down and act like you got some sense. That's what you would do if you were dealing with somebody of Oprah's capacity or someone of Oprah's stature, And I keep saying Oprah, but I hope that by now you understand that this is not about Oprah. This is about the concept of someone who has made it and is on that level, okay? And when I say made it in those quotations, I'm not saying a negative way. I'm saying that's a statement. They've made it, okay? That's what I'm talking about. So if I was Oprah, would you continue being passive aggressive? Every room that we walk in, would you always have your little tit for tat? Would you always have something to say? Or would you be ready to come in and show up prepared like you take this serious and do whatever is needed or required or asked of you to make this system roll because you see what you're getting out of this and you know that this is something great and you don't want to miss out on an opportunity of that and you don't want to disrespect the vision and the work that is being taken place here? That's the question that I'm asking you. And a lot of people would not be able to answer that question and feel great about their answer if they're being honest. So that's what it's about. I'll give an example of these passive aggressive. I mean, we have plenty. I'm not a fan of calling a person out because in a group setting, because I genuinely feel like if you talk to someone directly, it's more effective. Or if you just choose to move forward and show your action as how you're responding to that person, it's more effective. So I don't like to do the whole team thing. I can handle things on my own, and I'm never going to be that bully. So I'm just going to share an example without giving too much information. I had an occurrence happen where I was hosting an event. And in the process of me hosting this event, I was gifting something. And I often do giveaways and gifts, right? And someone made a remark about the gift that I was giving away. And it was $0. It was a nice gift that's $0 that you can utilize on multiple occasions. And they made a remark about it as if they were like questioning the gift of whether or not it was good enough. If you're coming to an event and you're wanting the gift and you've already been given the information and the gift is $0, I feel like I shouldn't have to explain, but I'm gonna explain. It's the level of you being so comfortable and bold with doing that in a group of a whole bunch of people where you see I am hosting this event. And it wasn't in a way that was like asking information. It was like in a way with sarcasm. And it's so disrespectful. It's so inconsiderate. And it's so entitled to come somewhere and be receiving something for free. And also being in an environment where you could be uplifting and elevating your own self. This is an environment to help you, giving you free insight, giving you free information, resources, and providing you with a free gift. And to be so bold to make such a passive aggressive statement like that in front of other people, so tasteless. And that's what I'm talking about. Because you didn't know who I was, and because this community may have had maybe like 20 people or so in this event, you felt like it was okay and it was cool to do that because nobody else that you know of was watching, and because I wasn't someone of value at that time, or you didn't think that I was giving you something of value or this was going to change your whole business, right? That's what it is. So if Oprah was hosting this event and said the same thing and was providing that free gift and giving you out those free resources, would you have given that same passive aggressive statement about the quality of the free gift that you're receiving, knowing that it's $0 and you're paying for nothing? I don't even think you're paying for shipping for this. So would you have still done that? Or would you have been clapping in the stands because you're just excited? You know? I crack myself up. I need to stop. But that's what I'm saying. Would you just be, you know, I'm not going to say blissfully ignorant, because you need to know what it is that you're getting into. Even if it's something free, all things that are free are not good. So I understand wanting more information. However, I provided the information, number one. Number two, if you genuinely were concerned on that level, after winning the prize, because you didn't even win it, it was a gift that was being gifted to someone there. But after winning the prize, you would then be able to say, hey, just a couple more questions about this. Because the prize itself was the fact that you were able to come to this free event and get free resources and connect with other people that are like-minded or of high quality. That was already the prize. The gift was just the icing on top. So the question is, would you still behave that way if you were dealing with someone who was very well known and famous? And in that situation, because I was the one experiencing it and I was the one experiencing that person, I'm going to have to say I don't think you would have. Because what I noticed with that person was that the way that they approached me and certain things changed based off of what they thought they were getting out of things. So no, I don't think that you would have done that if that was over. I think you would have been in the stands. Thank you so much. You know, that's what you would have done. So that's the question that I'm asking. Would you continue with passive aggressive? And that's just one example, but there's plenty of examples of passive aggressive. The wanting to do the tit for tat, the wanting to be combative, the wanting to always have the last word or last say over something that you have no say in, because it's not your platform, it's not your business, it's not your life. You know, passive aggressive attacks. People do this when they see you doing great things. And the question is, would you do it if you were still dealing with somebody who had already made it, quote unquote, made it as in gotten to where they need to be? Would you still be acting this way, or would you be more appreciative and considerate of the platform or the resources that they're providing to you? That's the question. On to the next. If I was Oprah, after helping you, would you still be funny behind my back? I love this one. And the reason why is because I can't tell you how many times where I have helped someone, supported them, and they have gone and done something, not realizing that I know that they've gone and done it, or tried to create drama or mess, not realizing that I have the information, knowing that they tried to do that, because the people that they were telling are people who are loyal and supportive of me. Okay? Like crazy. So the question is, if I was Oprah, would you be so comfortable doing that? Like, someone helps you, goes out of their way, gives you all of their energy, time, commitment, does even more, goes above the moon, you know, the moon and beyond, to support you and show you that, hey, what you got going is valuable. I want to be there to support you. And then you go and turn around and be messy or try to bring me down when all I've done is uplift you and support you. Would you do that if it was Oprah that you were dealing with? Probably not, because you would be so worried about all the stuff that you're going to get from her. So you wouldn't do that. Now, some people might, because some people just don't have those wits about them to say, hey, this is somebody that's helping me. This is somebody that's doing for me. Maybe I should just be quiet. And then we can work through it together. I'll come to them if I need to talk to them about something. But instead, you go and you go behind them instead of talking to them or addressing them directly, professionally, respectfully. Okay? So the question is, would you do that if it was Oprah? I don't know. On to the next question. So the next one. If I was Oprah, would you know how to read? I'm trying to get through this without laughing, because I'm not trying to go into a laughing spell on a live podcast. But I'm not insulting intelligence when I'm stating this. So I want to make that clear. When I say if I was Oprah, would you know how to read? This is what's the word? The question, it's a rhetorical question. Okay, I know the answer to this, or I feel like I know the answer to this, and that is yes, because you already know how to read. But for some reason, when I'm giving you information or I'm sending you direction, your reading skills are no longer there. And you're just not going to follow instruction. You're not going to read. You're still going to wing it and show up to environments and places and meetings and stuff like that, half doing things because you just didn't feel like reading, or you didn't want to, or you just felt like it wasn't really that important. We'll do it when we get there. But if Oprah sent you something that you needed to read and have done before you came to her platform, before you came to her office or her meeting, would you have done it? Would you know how to read and just understand and decipher? Absolutely. And let me not even say decipher, because the instruction and communication that I have given in the past, I have continued to practice being more and more clear and direct about it. Sharing exactly what is required, exactly what I'm looking for, exactly what we are doing, exactly what we are talking about. It is very clear. So you're choosing not to read because you just don't feel like it, and I'll wing it when we get there. And you're going to have somebody repeating something to you that they already told you when the opportunity itself is already complimentary or free? Really? No, you're not going to do that with Oprah. Not the people I'm talking to. Some people out there might do it, but I'm talking to the ones I know you're not going to do that with Oprah. You're going to come there and you're going to have everything read. Matter of fact, you're going to have it highlighted. Again, it's not just about Oprah. It's about, are you going to do this at an opportunity that could bring you in millions of dollars? No, you are not. And the problem with that is that you should be acting this way every time, whether it's going to bring you $5 or $1 million. You should always be on 100, because that is what we call what? Integrity. Thank you. All right. So the next one, if I was Oprah, would you reciprocate my energy and my good deeds? Am I saying that I need reciprocation for good deeds? No. But if the concept of, like I talked about before, when you need help and support, people don't tend to give it to you. And then when you decide you don't want it anymore from them, now they're just here and ready to help. My question is, if I was Oprah, would you reciprocate the energy? Like, if you see me coming in ready to work, excited, committed, dedicated, would you reciprocate that energy and give that back? Are you going to be excited, committed, and dedicated? Are you going to have this dreary attitude and energy, even though I'm coming here on go, ready to work for you, for your vision, for your dreams on my time? Would you come in and reciprocate that? Or am I just going to be out here pouring out and trying to help you and trying to support you, and you're not able to reciprocate that? For some reason, we want to give everything to the people who don't help us or don't know us. But then when it comes to the people who are right next to us in our backyard, helping us, supporting us, pushing us, cheerleading for us, we can't reciprocate that. What is that about? What is that about? That's just psychology. That's how the brains are wired sometimes. And we got to unwire, we got to rewire it. We got to get back to our roots. That's what we need to do. Because roots is telling us to go and pour into the things and the people and the places that pour into you. That's what we need to get back to. So that's what the thoughts are behind that line. If I was Oprah, would you know how to be loyal? Loyalty means a lot of different things to people. It can be shown in a lot of different ways. Let me put it that way, because loyalty is just it. Okay, we're not gonna go to the dictionary and change the word and the definition. Loyalty is loyalty, but how you show it can be shown in a lot of different ways, right? When you are at a certain level in your business, people put you on the back burner, even though you have done nothing but show up for them. They put you on the back burner, but then they'll go and they will tap dance and backflip for someone else who has done nothing for you, or the bare minimum for you. Or they'll jump on an opportunity just because it's free or just because it looks good. They'll go jump on that and put you on the back burner, even though you were riding for them the whole time. So the question is, if I was Oprah, would you know how to be loyal? Would you know how to prioritize and put people first? I'll give you a perfect example. And this is why in business, knowledge is power. Over communication is I don't want to say I want to get, I guess you can say, can you say killer? Yeah. Over communication is a killer. So look, I had to think about it. So many platforms and rules, but knowledge is power. And what do I mean by that? When you know how someone acts and how they are, you can take that and just accept it and move forward. And that's what I do a lot of times in business. But I have seen moments where I look at someone literally in the process of committing an act of, putting me on the back burner or not following through or following up with me for the sake of following through and following up with another person, only to turn around and be coming back to me to ask for help and support. How does that make sense? Okay, sorry I missed your event. So-and-so told me I should come out to their event, so I decided to come out to theirs. Okay, cool. But when you come back asking for the insight and the help and the tips that I was providing at my event to help you, that you committed to showing up to, not that you said, maybe I'll come, that you committed to showing up to, don't expect for me to drop everything that I'm doing to come and help you. Go ask so-and-so. It's okay for you to do different things. I'm not asking you to be, when I say loyal, I'm not saying that everything needs to be about me, about us and our relationship. I'm saying stay true to what you committed to doing. Have the integrity to follow up and follow through with what you say you're about. And when people ride for you and they show up for you and they do right by you, you do the same for them. You don't jeopardize your relationship with one person for another. This is in all areas of life. It's not just in business. And so if I was Oprah, would you be loyal to me? Would you treat this like this was serious? That's the question. The next one is, if I was Oprah, would you plant better seeds in my soil? This one really gives me chills. And it's the last one before we come to the conclusion. What I'm asking is, if I was Oprah, would you have better effort? Would you do more? And for a lot of people, the answer is yes. Yes, I would do more. Some people it's not, because they're just a hard worker and they put everything out on the table and they do what they're supposed to do and they do what they came to do, regardless of who is there. I'm one of those people. So I know for them, it doesn't matter. They're going to bring what they're going to bring, whether that's high quality or low quality. They're going to bring what they're going to bring because that's who they are and they have the integrity to bring that. But there are some people who have draining and really sucky energy. I mean, pardon my French, but just sucky energy all around. And you bring that to me, the person who is working hard for you, with you, trying to help you grow and elevate. But then you go to strangers and you give them the best energy and you give them the best space. And some people would say, well, that's just the mask, quote unquote, because we talk about this in different areas of our life. We talk about it in romance. There was a poem by a Black woman, a poem, or not a poem, a conversation, a dialogue between a Black woman and a Black man. You may know what I'm talking about. And the woman tells the man, you smile in front of everybody else and then you come home and bring me the worst of you. I get the depleted version of you. That is in all relationships. It's not just romantic. That's in business relationships. You go and you smile at everybody and you show up for them and you dress up for them. And then for me, you come and say, oh yeah, I'm tired. I don't feel like doing anything. Yeah, everything sucks. Nothing's going right in life. That's the energy you bring. And some people would say, well, that just means that you should be happy that someone feels comfortable with opening up to you and, telling you how they feel, yada, yada. There's a way to open up and still be giving effort at the same time. But what it is that people come to me and want to dump, all of everything that's not going right, and then not put any energy and effort into trying to make stuff go right or figure out what we need to do to make it right. We don't have that energy. And then we sit back and look at me as if I'm the reason for why you're still in the same place. The reality is that you're in the same place because you're staying in that same place, unless there's an opportunity that looks like it's worth you moving out of that place. And that's why you're where you're at. And so the question I'm asking is, if I was Oprah, would you plant better seeds in my soil? When you come to sit down and spend time with me, would you be ready to talk about business? When you're coming to discuss what's not going right, are you also going to have a list of what is going right? When you're coming to say that you're not gaining any sales, are you going to have a list of things that you've been trying to do to get them? Or are you just coming here to complain about nothing that's going right and how nothing's working for you? And coming to have this sore energy with me, of course, but with other people showing up and being dressed up and looking good and having all of that. You can still be authentic. You can still release what you're feeling, and you can still receive that emotional support, because I do provide that. I provide emotional sessions, I provide business coaching sessions, and I provide business consulting sessions, all three. So that means if you want to come in and just do consulting, no emotional stuff, none of that, we're here to consult. Tell me what I can be doing to elevate. Show me what I need to be working on. We can do that. If you need business coaching where we need to really dig deeper and understand how we can elevate, and you just need more of that push, okay, let's do it. If you need emotional sessions where we are here to talk about your emotions, and that's it, you just want to release, you want to vent, you can do that through my coaching bundle. I have that. I provide that service. However, what I'm talking about is not that. What I'm talking about is consistently showing up to a place with low energy, low expectations, low effort, and expecting that something is supposed to blossom from that. With me. But then with Oprah or somebody of that stature that you think has made it, you're going to be ready. You're going to show up with everything you need. And then when things go well, because you showed up ready with everything that you needed, and because of the support from Oprah or whoever, you're going to come back and swear, oh, it was because I went to Oprah. That's the only reason why I grew. Because when I was there, it didn't happen. No, when you were there, you weren't treating it like it was an Oprah situation, and your results showed. And so my question is, if I was Oprah, would you sow better seeds? Would you put more investment into this, into us, our relationship, into what you say you're trying to grow and elevate in? Would you? Or would it consistently just be showing up empty-handed with nothing but excuses and complaints or reasons for why nothing's not going well? Would you have at least one thing on that list that you have consistently been working on to try to get out of where you're at? Or would you treat it like any other area of life where if you don't water it, it doesn't grow? So now that I've shared this poem, the last part of this poem is, I could ask you to be honest and tell me all day, but no matter what you say, your actions will always lead the way. What I'm saying there is actions is the only thing that is going to tell somebody what you truly think of them and what you truly think of yourself. So there's really no purpose in arguing or trying to prove to somebody. It wouldn't matter if it was you or the next person, because if your actions don't align with that, then you've already shown the answer to that question. And that question, if I was Oprah, I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about anyone in your life, in your community, that is trying to build something and make something happen and grow, that is consistently reliable for multiple people, multiple platforms, multiple businesses, multiple things in their life. And you're coming to them with this low energy, this low vibration, the low effort, the bare minimum, the wanting them to do a backflip while you sit back, but expecting something grand to come from that. I'm speaking for those people. I'm speaking for the creators, the dreamers. You don't have to be a business owner, someone who's dreaming about doing something, but you tend to have these people who are just trying to nick at you and beat you down, or always have something to say or do to try to prove that they're on the opposite end, or to try to find a way to see that you're not perfect, or whatever the case may be. I'm speaking for those people. Okay, and this poem is here to bring acknowledgement to where we could be better supporters. Because if you really support that woman, show that you support that woman and show up and act right when you come to her platforms. If you really support that business, show up and show that you support that business by coming in and stepping like you support that business. Let's stop talking about my sis, my friend, my this. And then when they're actually out here doing things to try to grow themselves, their community, and for you, you have this minimal effort. But then for a stranger, for Oprah, for a Kardashian, for a rapper, for whoever it is, you're willing to just throw it all out on the line. And these people don't even know you. If I was Oprah. Thank you for listening to the Boss Babe Blog Podcast. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this topic and how you translated this poem. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Bye-bye.